Environmental Officer in Sheffield Robotics, and we're looking at collaborative robotics, which is this idea of humans and robots working together in shared environments. It could be in a factory setting like here at the Advanced Manufacturing Research Centre, or it could perhaps be in hospital environments or care homes, perhaps in schools, or maybe even at your own home. But it's all about how humans and robots can work together to do tasks that maybe we can't do individually, or to share tasks in ways which will be beneficial to both humans and robots. There is a lot of concern out there about robots and about the future with robots and robots taking jobs. And what I want to emphasise with collaborative robots, it really is about taking the best elements of the human and the robot and working together. Human-robot collaboration, it should be more flexible, more agile than standard forms of automation. And so you can potentially buy a single robot to do multiple different tasks at different times in your manufacturing environment. And that means that small companies and larger companies that don't have much in the way of automation can bring in one or two pieces of equipment. They can use them on different processes at different times, move them around the factory floor much easier than they can with existing automation. I think there's multiple different things that are needed. We need people with the skills to develop the robots and develop the robot processes, and these people are going to need to be multidisciplinary. They're going to be able to cross the traditional engineering boundaries of control and automation, and also be engaged in the human factors side, so looking at the needs of the users and the impact of the robot on the users, to ensure that there is acceptance and trust between the humans and the robots in these working environments. So I think that the people who are going to be working with these types of robots are going to need more education and skills around the use of robots. Perhaps there'll be an element of programming in there, more technical expertise, but we also have to look at how we make the robots easier and more intuitive to use. I don't think that everyone will need to be a programmer. I think that people will need to become more understanding of the technology in general. Just as we become high adopters of mobile phone technology, for example, and we've all kind of learnt to use those now. People are going to have to do the same thing with robots as they become more embedded in the environment around us and in our daily lives.
So our vision is, the whole purpose of Factory 2050 is that we're looking at reconfigurability, we're looking at batch size of one. We expect people to want customisation near the point of consumption. So people will go on the internet and they will actually have a bespoke car, bespoke telly, bespoke washing machine, bespoke whatever, and you can choose various options. But you won't wait till it comes from another country. You want it delivered the next day. So Factory 2050 is all about receiving sort of bespoke orders, having it made very, very quickly in a reconfigurable factory and shipped the next day. So you can go on the internet, you can specify your new telly, you can get all the right features, you don't get the features you don't want, and it's the next day just for you. Yours is the only telly like that on the planet. There's still going to be quite a lot of skills required, and a high level skill as well, because this is actually doing the job of a manual person, but it's keeping that manual person working. But somebody has to maintain this robot, somebody has to program it and integrate it. So you're not losing jobs, you're just moving jobs about. So you're creating high quality jobs, high paid, highly skilled jobs. So that's why we do that, is we believe that robots actually produce high quality jobs.
In terms of the kind of skills that might be needed for the workforce, it's a kind of increase in digital skills, coding skills, general kind of problem solving as well. For a lot of factories we work with, is a kind of concern for them that they may introduce these types of technologies but then not have the kind of numbers of staff or skilled staff in order to, say, service those, maintain those. But also that because collaborative robots, unlike kind of traditional robotics, see people and robots in shared spaces, that your kind of traditional robot operator or factory floor worker may be interacting more directly with these kind of technologies. They may take on some of that kind of servicing or maintenance role themselves, and that they may need to be kind of upskilled in some way, or kind of the future generations of those kind of workers may need kind of a higher level of technical knowledge or kind of coding knowledge or digital knowledge than perhaps they currently do. And also we've seen a real appetite from workers in those kind of positions currently for that kind of upskilling. It's a difficult thing to change a curriculum or a kind of approaches to education at policy level, but actually organisations like Sheffield Robotics and others, that we already have this kind of expertise that, say, government or school teachers may not have, that we can go into schools or summer schools or kind of external extracurricular activities that can give children those skills. And actually I think we've seen a couple of examples I can think of children that have been to kind of robotics events in the past, been really interested, and there is things out there already at a kind of small scale that help get them kind of interested and engaged, kind of simple things that they can code at home, but actually the kind of summer schools and other organised activities by organisations like Sheffield Robotics or other people are the ones that can develop those kind of that initial interest into skills that they can take forward into the future.
Well, it's part of our Cyber Cells Roadshow, which we take around as many places as we can, showing people our robots and talking about robots. And part of it's public engagement. It's called public engagement. What we're trying to do is we're getting people to understand where we are with robotics, what the challenges are, but also address fears. Some people are worried that robots will take over the world. We can reassure them they won't. And also just get kids interested in STEM, try to get people interested in coding and programming. If you say to somebody, here, go do some coding, people will be interested. If you say, go program this robot, then they get much more excited because the robot's something they can relate to. When we have an emotional engagement with something, we care more about it. Love or hate it. So the fear, the love, everything else, it gives us a connection. And when we have that connection, we're more likely to engage and to want to do stuff with it. So that's the idea behind social robots. Because some people think social robots are a bad thing. We should only work on industrial robots and disembodied AI. But what we're saying is no, there's going to naturally be an emotional engagement with these machines. Whether it's an industrial robot or a disembodied AI, why don't we try to take advantage of that in a positive way?
With our little Cosmo, we got it because my son, he does programming at a local coding club we go on Saturdays. And yeah, it's brought him along to no end where he can program it to do whatever. And I think it's going to set him in good stead in the future because obviously technology's gone a long way in the last 30 years, and who knows where we're going to be in the next 30 years. We're going to need computer programmers and the likes of. So yeah, I think it sets kids in good stead and gets the brains ticking rather than just being sat on a mundane game all the time. Gets them thinking about getting something to be interactive and do something, which is great.
I think there's certainly an urgency in helping people understand what the future might look like with robots. I do think we need to engage more widely with people so that they understand what the limitations of robots are, what the developments are that we're making, and what the impact of those will be on our daily lives. One of the most beneficial things that we see is getting people up close with robots and actually interacting with them. We see that has a massive impact on the way that people see and feel about robots.
What we're trying to do is try to engage people and give them something to feel good about, and try to let them engage with robots in a way that makes sense to them and that's personal for them. We're not trying to make better robots to replace humans. We're trying to make better robots to make us better human beings.